Hello, welcome to episode 105 of the Epic Film Challenge 2, 1,001 movies you must see before you die. I almost messed that up. And coming off the last review, Manhunter, we go to The Silence of the Lambs, 1991. This film was huge. It was so successful, it was so well known. People were quoting it, you know, people were talking about it. Well, not that I was that cognizant of it when I was 3 years old, but I mean, even just growing up as a kid, I knew of Hannibal Lecter. I knew that he was a cannibal, you know, like
Hannibal the Cannibal.
I think in school, in primary school, I did like a kind of like a project on the computer where I was like, oh yeah, there's going to be a haunted house and Hannibal's going to do the food and stuff, like so, and I had a picture of Anthony Hopkins like printed off. So yeah, before I even saw the film, I knew.
I'd love to see that.
I wish I still had it. But this film really just made the character of Hannibal such a pop culture icon through Anthony Hopkins, who plays him in the film. The story, if you haven't seen it, and if you haven't seen it, what's wrong with you? It's a great film. Follows Clarice Starling, played by Jodie Foster, who's a trainee FBI agent. She's not quite an FBI agent yet. And there's been a serial killer on the loose called Buffalo Bill, and they can't get a grasp on, you know, how to catch him. And so they think that let's try the old trusty Hannibal Lecter, but they send people down to Hannibal, this guy who was in jail for eating people and killing people. Very smart though, and he's a psychiatrist himself, Hannibal. But he rejects any attempt for them to come and ask him for help. So Jack Crawford, the head of this division in the FBI, he sends Clarice over to maybe kind of disarm Hannibal with a trainee, a woman, you know, just to try it, you know, maybe something will come out of it. And that's kind of the film, is Clarice kind of getting deeper into the case of Buffalo Bill and deeper into a conversational relationship with Hannibal Lecter. And again, much like Manhunter or Red Dragon, it's a serial killer. The clues are there, the little bits they come and they unravel, and we learn things, and it's really well done. Great story, great plot. But the two lead performances from Jodie Foster and Anthony Hopkins just steal the show. And
such great chemistry.
Yes, great chemistry. And also, like you said in the Manhunter review, we get a lot of extreme close-ups on both of these characters when they first meet. And I love that first scene where she's walking through the kind of the jail, and or the ward, I suppose, psychiatric. And she just sees him standing, and he's just stood there waiting.
He knows she's coming.
Yes, and
but he's seen the chair, so.
Oh yeah, true. But I mean, just the way he's standing, you know, Hopkins just nails it. Like in the first second he's on screen, and doesn't really do the same kind of performance as Brian Cox, but he still feels like the Hannibal that I know because I've read the books, you know. And it's great.
I just gotta say, like, I love both of their performances.
Yeah.
He's got his psycho charming way, and you get drawn in. I mean, I think even you do. It's not a girl or guy thing, you know. You get drawn in because he's got like a hypnotic way of talking.
It's an intoxicating charisma.
Yeah. Okay. And
it is.
And she just can't help but being nervous. And I keep thinking, what would I do if I was sat there talking to him? Could I be able to play, like act not nervous? Could I be able to stay more calm? Because you can tell she's trying to, and that makes her performance as an actress even better, because how do you act trying to act not nervous? But be nervous. You know, and that makes it really good. I already knew she was great.
It takes a great actress to do that,
yes.
And this is the 1 in 7 occasions in the, I guess, how long would it have been now? 70, I think it's almost 90 years of the Oscars now. Only 7 times have there been the Best Actor and Actress award in the same movie. You know, I think One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest did it with Jack Nicholson and the nurse, but you know, Jodie Foster and Anthony Hopkins, they both won the Oscar for this film, which is pretty cool. And
I want to say the filming part about this.
Yeah.
Because I'm just dying to get it out.
Yeah,
if you say it, it'll just when he talks back to you, like you start out on the side a little bit, but the camera moves in between the characters, and she's not looking into the camera, but he is. And so when he talks, you feel like he's talking to you because he's staring you right in the freaking eye.
Yeah.
And it's so you get so drawn in. I feel like a moth to a flame almost when I'm watching this, because I'm pretty sure my mouth even like started a little bit, because it's hypnotizing.
It is, yeah.
He's not even a good looking guy or anything in my mind. I mean, he's old. He's like 53 in this movie. But I get like, you know, and he draws you in. And the way he talks is so calm. And they said something about...
he killed someone and,
yes.
and he was eating their face or something, and his heartbeat never went below 80 or something like that, so...
Yeah, it was always the even 80 something.
Yeah.
But only when he felt that he was chewing the flesh, his heart rate went up or something. They said.
I don't think they even said that.
They did. But the whole time when he was killing them,
I think that
it didn't go up, and so I kept thinking his heart rate must be so low right now.
Yeah.
And I almost felt my own go down, but it still was beating hard, you know.
It's a calm, calculated, and masterful performance, I think, from him.
You feel you're there in a way.
Yes, and again, he's not in the film that long, but he feels like he is, and his presence is felt throughout the entire film. Whereas Manhunter, has an integral part to the film. In this one, it's much bigger. And in this story as well, it's much bigger. The book, Silence of the Lambs.
I want to give him more credit as well, because how do you... It's easier to act when you look into someone's eye, but he has to look into the camera, you know?
Right, yeah.
And you don't... That's nothing. Like, it doesn't have a soul, it doesn't have eyes, it doesn't have any feelings. And
you don't have an actor to bounce off of that.
Exactly. You have to look into the camera, and that... I bet that most actors, when they are acting, they try to pretend like the cameras are not there, but he can't do that.
Yeah. He
knows he's talking to the camera, and that makes it even more impressive to me how he's doing it.
Good point.
It's really hard to not notice because she doesn't look into it.
Yeah.
But there are other people who do.
I think she does at some point. There's a lot of extreme close-ups in the film.
Yeah.
Jonathan Demme, the director, really went to that well. To great effect, I think. You know, it really makes it more intimate, and you get into the characters somehow just by seeing all of these close-ups, and you're just seeing the details of their face and the way that they're feeling through all the situations. And Ted, I don't know how you pronounce Ted Levine or Ted Levine, plays Buffalo Bill, and I think that he was just incredible. Like, so creepy, so unhinged, and so...
he's got such a dark voice, too.
So really, believable as this absolute psychopath. And his scenes are just chilling to me, you know. And the whole storyline of him is chilling, you know. The Tooth Fairy is one thing in Red Dragon, but in this one it's a whole other level of kind of disturbing.
Uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You get uncomfortable when he's in the scene.
Yes.
And you're supposed to, which is good. Like, there's a certain scene that most people probably know about where I looked away, but it's supposed to make you uncomfortable, you know?
Yeah.
And I thought the hostage was great too. I know I've seen it before. It's either in Buffy.
Oh, the actress who gets...
I think she's Buffy's mom, actually.
I don't
think she is.
I don't know. I doubt that, but anyway.
I'm 98% sure that she's Buffy's mom. Because Buffy was in the... Wait, this wasn't the 90s.
This was early 90s, yeah, so... Probably doesn't match up the way that you think it does.
Well, I know her from somewhere.
Nevertheless, it's a fantastic film, but it's... You're just waiting for those scenes with Jodie Foster and Anthony Hopkins. Like, it's just so great to watch. There's just something so... And he said...
You want more of it.
I don't know if he did it during this, but we watched this interview with Anthony Hopkins from the time of him making Red Dragon in 2002. And he said that he has this weird thing where he will read all of his lines from a film 250 times out loud to memorize them and stuff. And, you know, he's just pitch perfect. He is absolutely pitch perfect. So whatever he's doing, it works.
But he said he forgets them right after.
Yeah, like, you know, it's...
He doesn't remember one line from it, but if he read it again, it will come back to him. So that makes me think, like, what kind of brain does he have? It's not like that.
Well, one of my favourite bits is when they first meet and they're kind of like gauging each other, and she's doing well to begin with a little, and then she's like, oh well, maybe you could just have a look at this questionnaire, and he's like, oh, you were doing so well, like, you know, and it just like the way that it goes up and down, and his estimation of her, and as he starts to give her more information and stuff, he'll give her something. But then he'll just talk about something else. Like, tell me about you. You know, it's such great psychology in those scenes.
I also like how, because she's told specifically not to talk about personal stuff, and to stay away from the glass.
Yeah.
She keeps coming closer to the glass, and I feel myself going, what are you doing? And in the end, she sat on the floor right next to the glass, and I commented on it.
Yeah.
And you said something about she's
being drawn in.
Yeah, she's being drawn in.
I guess so, yeah.
And it's the same with me, because I get drawn into it.
Yeah.
And of course, it's supposed to make you feel kind of like, well, what are you doing, you know? And then there's a certain scene where, is it a spoiler? The file swap.
The
Is
file
it a spoiler?
No.
He has her files.
Yeah.
And someone is trying to tear her away from him.
Yeah.
Obviously, there are bars between them.
Yeah.
But he says, your files, you know? And she runs over to him and grabs the files. And he just does this on her finger. And I got shivers. I got, like, chills. But not, like, scary, but more like adrenaline in a way. And so that's when I was thinking, well, of course she went to get the files. She wanted him to touch her or something.
Right, okay.
Because where the rush she would get from it, you know? Because she could die right there and then.
Well,
but I also think that she somehow trusts him in a way.
Alright.
Like they've bonded in a way. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
I don't think that she's scared of him, but she's...
Right.
I don't know, there's something weird, and I completely understand it. And when that happened, I was like, you know? And from that point on, I was just thinking, he's never going to kill her or something, because it was just... I just felt something. You know? There was a spark! There was,
and apparently they stayed away from each other a lot during filming, and she was very intimidated by Anthony Hopkins, and then one day they met in catering, and she was like, you know, I'm quite intimidated by you. He's like, oh, I'm quite intimidated by you, actually. So, yes, it's a great double act, and we spent most of the video just gushing about their chemistry, but it really is one of the great on-screen, just, you know, back and forth between an actor and an actress. And
but there are also some great, like, brilliant scenes that the writer has made.
Yes.
Which makes you go, oh, hang on a minute, what? It's amazing.
It's a great story, and it was brought to the screen just excellently. It's a fantastic film, and we'll talk a little bit about spoilers. But is it a film must see before you die? Yeah, without a doubt, no question about it. It's one of the great films of the 90s, and when it comes to, again, the serial killer kind of thriller, this is up there. And I know that Manhunter and Silence of the Lambs aren't necessarily horror films, but they're really good, top-notch thrillers.
Well, Silence of the Lamb has more, you know, horrifying elements.
Oh, it has a lot of horrifying elements to it, for sure.
And so, I mean, you seem to say that a horror is when you see horrifying pictures, doesn't have to be monsters and stuff.
Well, that's the thing, because... let's not get into it, because that whole conversation...
No, but there are parts of it that could give you nightmares because you can't handle looking at it. Because it's gory and stuff.
No,
right?
That was because we were eating dinner during one scene and I just didn't want to eat while well, no, okay, I guess there's one part with the dead body which I was really like, I hate that stuff. But yeah, let's just, if you've seen the film, you can continue watching. If not, what are you doing? Go check it out now.
And don't watch the rest of this because it's spoilers.
Yeah, not as much, but just a couple of cool scenes. So here we go, spoilers. You got your warning. Okay, right. Go on then. So I'll set it up. So Hannibal escapes towards the end of the film and just demolishes these two guards in a very effective scene. You know, like I think that image of him kind of with the blood over his face, kind of just like moving his hands to the music after he's killed them. You know, that kind of calmness after the act itself. And
again
then
makes you think, oh, his pulse probably never rose.
Yeah, because they set it up. They mentioned it earlier, and we have you know, all the police trying to track him down, and they find one of the bodies of the cops, and he's still alive, so they put him into the ambulance, and of course,
I was thinking that whole time, like, well, hang on a minute, didn't he swap him up? You know, isn't that him? How do they not recognize his own guard? And it was pissing me off because I knew it was him, but how could they not recognize?
Yeah.
And Luke goes right before he does the thing. He said, "That's why," and he pulls the face of the guard off his own face, and I was just like, "Oh my god, that's brilliant! That was so awesome and so disgusting, obviously, because he just had flesh over him." But I'm so glad it didn't show that scene. And you knew something was off. You knew there was something off about that whole thing.
Yeah.
But it was brilliant. He changed his clothes and everything. It already gutted the other guy and hung it up like an angel across the frickin' cell.
Yeah.
And he put the other guy on top of the elevator and swapped his clothes over. And he had the time to do all of that and cut his face off and put it on his own. And he just... It was brilliant. It was so good.
I want to take his face off.
Oh.
No, it's worth noting you had seen the film before, but you'd forgotten a lot of it.
I'd forgotten that he...
Yeah.
The face was off! It was his face! It was brilliant. So disgusting.
So the spoiler I want to get into is the scene where they finally track down and the FBI figure out who this guy is, who Buffalo Bill is, and they've got his home address. And so they surround his house, they ring the doorbell, they've got a guy there with flowers to kind of trick him, and he's downstairs in the basement and the bell goes off. And so he puts his clothes on, he gets upstairs, and he opens the door and the cops are outside, and Clarice is standing there. And that's when you realise that, in fact, the police have got to a house where he isn't living, and Clarice is the one who tracked him down, and is there alone and pretty much fucked. Great reveal, just great, so well set up. I think that was brilliant.
Me too, because I've forgotten about that part. And I was just like, well, hang on, when's she going to be alone
It's
with
a great
him?
little cinematic trick that just really works well. And one thing, just to round this off, you know, obviously brilliant film, we both love it, and but it doesn't really stick to the novel as much, the sequel, Hannibal, which is kind of the final Hannibal Lecter story. But how do you think that she is attracted to Hannibal?
Only mentally, not physically. Well, there is something there.
Mentally, of course, yeah.
Mentally attracted to him, but not in a sexual way.
Right, because the end of the book Hannibal, I'm pretty sure that she dines with Hannibal on a certain human part, and the end of Hannibal is them going off as lovers. So.
In the book.
In the not this book, the next book, Hannibal. And
is she in it too?
No, what in the
movie?
No, that's the thing. They went to do the sequel, and like the whole build-up, because when Silence of the Lambs, the movie came out, that was the last Hannibal story. And then Thomas Harris was like, well, I'm going to do a sequel just called Hannibal. And they were like, great, we're going to make a movie about it. You know, Anthony Hopkins is going to come back, and Jodie Foster's going to come back. The director, Jonathan Demme, is going to come back. They're like, we can't wait to do it. We you know, and the book came out, and it was a huge hit, Hannibal. And when the book came out and people read it, the director decided that it wasn't what he wanted to do. And Jodie Foster has said that she was busy doing another film, but a lot of people think that she just wasn't, and she does say that she doesn't think that it's true to the character of Clarice, where it ends with her running off with Hannibal and they become lovers. So in the movie Hannibal, Julianne Moore plays Clarice. And
right.
I don't really like it that much. It's worth it to see Anthony Hopkins, but it's just nowhere near. I mean, just taking Jodie Foster out of the equation already, you failed there. It just, yeah, it's interesting in its own way, but it's a lot darker, a lot gorier, and just I don't like it very much. So for me, Silence of the Lambs is the one that I always go back to. And Red Dragon, I like that movie too.
I don't like the idea of her becoming physical with him like that.
Yeah.
Or being in love with him like that.
Yeah.
But I do get the feeling that she wants more of him.
Yes.
With their last scene, which is the finger touching. And because...
It's an intellectual attraction.
I don't know if it's because I'm a girl, but there is something that stirred inside of my chest when that happened.
Okay.
And I wanted them to meet up.
Yeah.
Face to face without bars.
Yeah, right, because the last scene of the film is him calling her from an undisclosed location, so we get that closure with them. And
but that's the only thing. There's still a wall between them, you know.
Yeah.
But I don't see her because she seems like a good girl. She wouldn't want to be with someone who's killed someone.
Yes.
But because she's too good of a girl, you know. But I think that she wouldn't want to meet him. Like she would want to meet him at a restaurant and eat normal food, and just talk with him. And
I'm pretty sure that happens in the book. It doesn't in the film, I don't think. The film ending's quite different, The film ending it doesn't have them. I mean, it hints that maybe it could happen, but it doesn't really show that.
I think the main attraction she has is the rush of adrenaline she probably has every time she's with him, and the fascination and how she wants to kind of crack the code.
Yeah.
Because she is an FBI agent and she wants to figure things out, and she can't figure him out.
Yeah.
And at the same time, because he's so smart, there's no doubt that he understands her in a way. Like when she told him her story, and I mean, that's what some psychiatrists can do to you. They make you open up like a book. Yeah. And so she's an open book, but I guess she wanted to open him up too or something.
Yeah.
But there's something there, but I don't think it was sexual.
Yeah, I just find that interesting, but I mean, again, when it comes to the Anthony Hopkins films, I just like to look at Red Dragon and Silence of the Lambs and kind of leave it there. Hannibal doesn't do much for me, even though it's got like Gary Oldman in it and Ridley Scott directing and everything, and it just doesn't really. It just
Wait, Ridley Scott directed what?
Hannibal, the sequel. I mean, I'll watch it again for sure, but it's not for me. I don't think. Anyway, and you said earlier like you don't think he wants to kill her, and I like at the last scene with the phone call, he's like, "Don't worry, I'm not going to come to call on you. The world's much better place with you in it." You know, he gets that nice little thing.
Didn't he?
Or more interesting maybe, yeah. And then I love that last line where he's like, "Oh, I must go now. I'm having a friend for dinner." And we see the psychiatric warden from earlier. So it's a fun little ending, you know, to a very dark film. So there we go. That's our mass ramblings and pretty much just gushing over how much we liked the two characters and performances of Silence of the Lambs. So anything else you want to add?
No, I don't know.
You don't know?
Think of anything. It's a brilliant movie.
Yes.
From beginning to end.
Oh yes.
Cinematography wise, directing, casting, acting.
Yep. Nice little score as well. I like
really,
the score by Howard Shore. That's a good little.
I can't remember any like shots being good, like beautifully wise. You know, like that.
Beautifully
kind of
wise.
Yeah, but it's just the way camera's set up to put you into the conversations. I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
Other than that, I didn't really notice. Like, I didn't think like, oh, that's a great shot.
It doesn't need to be.
No,
as long as it puts you in the story.
And that's what made the movie even more top notch. It's a definite 10 out of 10 for me.
Oh yeah, and the suspense when she gets down in that basement of Buffalo Bill and she's moving
and the
through.
Lights are off.
She's moving through the thing and everything, and so.
It's great.
That's it. Thank you for watching. It's been our little double bill of Hannibal Lecter films, and we'll see you in the next one.